Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Dirty Martini. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're having an amazing day. Just a heads up before I start with this episode, I need to give a trigger warning. My English has not been Englishing the last few days. I don't know what is going on, but I just cannot talk in English. I don't know. I'm having the hardest time remembering words, forming sentences, so that is very fun. Like the other day, I kid you not, it took me a few minutes to remember the word fence. So please bear with me. I will try my best to make sentences. Also, very funny, I know, but currently I'm having one of the most terrible migraines of my life. And if I sound a bit off because of that as well, I'm sorry. I'm just fighting demons which are trying to split my head open. And before you suggest it, no, I'm not going to take any medicine for it. Now, I totally could, and I'm not opposed to medicine or taking medications whatsoever, but there is this part in me, this terrible little voice in the back of my head, which just keeps on saying to me, like, see how long you can go without taking anything for it. I recognize that this mentality is not healthy. It is not the best to have, but I feel like it's super common with us girls and women in general, especially like, for example, when it comes to our periods. Like we're going through excruciating pain, barely able to stand, barely able to function, and we're just dying in bed, but we won't take medicine because we want to see if we can soldier through. And that is girlhood for you. I don't know why we do it, but I literally don't have a single girlfriend who doesn't do it. It's like we would be ashamed to take medicine when there's nothing shameful in it. But yeah. And when you think about it, nobody's going to give you a medal at the end of your period to congratulate you for raw dogging it. But we still do it. God, periods are crazy. You're out there bleeding for 7 days straight, 7 days straight, and you're expected to function as if nothing is going on. Periods are crazy. And don't even get me started on pregnancies. That thing terrifies the hell out of me. Like, you could literally die. Just thinking about all the pain that goes into it, all the pains mothers have to endure, I just feel my ovaries shrivel up. But, guys get kicked in the balls, so what do I or any other woman on this planet know about pain? So yeah, my migraine is everything I can think about right now. I cannot get myself to do anything but just sit in silence, stare at the, what is it called? Ceiling? Exactly. See, English isn't Englishing. Yeah, just stare at the ceiling and focus on the pain. And because I recognize that this isn't the best pastime activity out there, and because I want to distract myself from the pain, I decided that this is the perfect time to podcast. I swear, that headache, I kind of did that to myself. And it's not because I've spent the last weeks with at least 15 hours glued to a screen trying to write my thesis and procrastinating my thesis. It's not because I've drank a single droplet of water the entire week. No. I purely and only have a headache because I looked into lobotomy earlier. Now, why did I look into lobotomy earlier, you might ask? Don't worry about it. it's none of your business. Me and the research I do on neurosurgical treatments is between me and WebMD opened in an incognito mode on my browser, just in case. No, I'm kidding. I just stumbled upon this video on TikTok which summarized the story of Rosemary Kennedy, who is the sister of John F. Kennedy. And as much as I enjoy TikTok, and you can learn great hacks and tips there, I don't think it is the most trustworthy platform when it comes to actually important historical information. So I decided to fact check it. And basically, Rosemary Kennedy, her dad had her lobotomized when she was 23 without actually consulting her mom, Rose, whatsoever before he did that. But the lobotomy didn't go well because, they cut nerve pathways in your brain, so duh. And after the procedure, she was fully incapacitated for the rest of her life. So her family, because they were very high profile, they were the presidential family. Well, not at the time, not yet. JFK doesn't become the president until 20 years after the lobotomy. But they were still trying to create a certain image and stuff. So they hid her from the public eye. She was institutionalized, and what broke my heart even further is that her mother didn't visit her for 20 years, and her father didn't visit her at all. And after years, her truth got told, but of course that didn't fix the situation. She was affected for the rest of her life, and very significantly so, actually. She couldn't talk intelligibly, and over time there was some improvement with her relearning how to walk and stuff, although she limped for the rest of her life. But she never recovered. And of course she couldn't recover. Part of her prefrontal lobe was missing or something like this. I'm not a doctor. I don't know. So yeah, I wasn't familiar with her story, and reading about it made me quite emotional because it is scary. It is terrifying, actually. And she didn't deserve this. I hope she rests in peace now. Wait, I want to Google what symptoms would get you lobotomized in the 1900s. I know that it was a trend on TikTok, but I didn't have TikTok at the time, so I missed out on this. So, let's check it just for fun. I swear I'm fun on parties. Okay, so here it is what I found. I will read you a quote from an NPR article, and just put a finger down for each characteristic that applies to you, and let's see if we should go get lobotomized. Okay, so the NPR article. It says, and I quote, according to a New York Times article from 1937, people with the following symptoms would benefit from a lobotomy: tension, apprehension, anxiety, depression, insomnia, suicidal ideas, delusions, hallucinations, crying spells, melancholia, obsessions, panic states, disorientation. That word I'm not even going to try to pronounce, so I'll just read in the brackets. Pains of psychic origin, nervous indigestion, and hysterical paralysis. End of quote. This is a medical podcast now, by the way, apparently. But, dude, what the actual hell? My name is literally synonymous with half of those things. I'm just happy I wasn't born in the 1900s because I most definitely would have been lobotomized. What a great day to be a child of the new millennia. Millennium? Millennia? Oh my god, I cannot do this anymore. What a great day to be a Gen Z. Just a quick PSA, like for in between. Stop saying Zoomer when you're talking about Gen Z. It is offensive, and it is a genuine hate crime. And it is literally the most boomer thing I have ever heard. So stop it. Yeah. Anyways, I'm so happy that they don't perform lobotomies anymore. They just, as a procedure, don't sound like vibey, if you ask me. Actually, today I wanted to tell you about what has been going on in my life, but then I got into all this lobotomy talk, as one does. And if I'm being really honest right now, having read this list, having familiarized myself with what criteria you should meet to be lobotomized, I'm not sure if I want to share what's been going on in my life anymore, because what if lobotomies make a comeback and people find this episode and get me institutionalized? Well, I guess that's a risk I should take. The things I do to entertain you. So guys, if one day they want to catch me, don't let them get to me, okay? We're a team here, and we need to take care of each other. Honestly, okay, not to compare skinny jeans and lobotomy, but I would rather go through the comeback of the super skinny, high-waisted jeans circa 2015, 2016 than to experience the comeback of lobotomies. Maybe not all trends should be revived, you know? So, I guess let's just get into it. I guess this episode will be reasons I would get lobotomy for. Is that a rightly worded sentence? Anyways, just in case, for legal reasons, all of this is fiction, please don't get me lobotomized. I honestly don't even know where to begin. So much happened. So I will just start talking in no particular order, and I just hope I won't forget anything that actually mattered. So, yesterday, I went clubbing. Now, I have a hot take on clubbing as someone in their early 20s. Clubs actually suck. Or wait, let me paraphrase this. Clubs in the city I live in suck. I think it's cruel of the university to promote the city as the place to be when you want to go out, as the place with one of the best clubbing scenes in the country, when in reality, I swear all the clubs here are a literal safety hazard. They're so small. I kid you not. There is a club street in the city I live in, and all the clubs are 1 square meter at best. And here I'm being generous. They're so packed and so tiny and so humid and sweaty, and the floors are sticky. What was that sound? Yeah, James? Okay. The floors are sticky because they're covered in alcohol, and I don't think they've been mopped since the opening of the club. And they always play these same songs. Like, the set list never changes. I could recite it to you. But, okay, I did get a little surprised yesterday. I didn't expect to be listening to a techno remix. Oh my god, I cannot do this anymore. Yeah, so I didn't expect to be listening to a techno remix of Grenade by Bruno Mars in the club, but oh well, expected and unexpected, I guess. But what happened to no crying in the club. Also, they didn't ID card me at the entrance, and that is offensive. That was a hate crime. What do you mean I don't look young enough to not be allowed inside? I just cannot enjoy myself in a club here. They opened this 3-story one when I first moved here 3 years ago. And it was good for the first 3 or 4 times I went, but then it just got boring. Clubbing is just not the it girl for me. I'm sorry. I dread going clubbing here because it is a terrible experience all the time. Back home, at least you have more space to move. But also, like, in general, I'm not a big clubbing person. Or at least not anymore. I started clubbing when I was 16. Which is pretty young when you actually think about it. Like, I wasn't even legally allowed to be in the club. I don't know how it is now with clubs in Bulgaria for underage people anymore because, well, I'm 22. But when I was underage, you couldn't just get into a club. You had to be accompanied by a person over 18. And you too had to sign a written declaration that you're staying together and that you're and the overage person is responsible for you if something were to happen. Now the thing is that none of my friends were 18, so what we would do, we would just grab random people at the entrance of the club and ask them to sign our declarations. And then we'd enter the place together and never see each other ever again. Now, was that responsible on either side of the agreement? Absolutely not. If this thing, like the declarations and whatever, are still happening in Bulgaria and you're underage and you're listening to this, don't do it. It's not worth it. Like, what are you doing at the club this young? Like, just go home. One time, I remember the police came to the club because they thought there were some shady operations going on. And the music stopped, the lights went back on, and the police officers went on to walk around the tables and started randomly carding people. Now, even though they didn't card me yesterday, which, again, go screw yourself, when I was 16, just by looking at me, you would think that I was 12. So, during this police action, you can say that I was sweating a bit more. Okay, maybe more than a bit. And I had entered the club that night with a person who I didn't even remember what they looked like. So my friends and I had to hide in the toilets until the police left because we weren't supposed to be there by ourselves. So, why am I saying all of this? Well, I started clubbing early, as I already made explicitly clear. And I clubbed quite a lot, actually. If not every week, then every other week. Let's not forget that I was still in high school and stuff. So yeah, by the time I came to university, I had already got the clubbing out of my system. I had overclubbed. Is that a verb? No, I don't think it is, but yeah, it's the lobotomy speaking, guys. Yeah, I just didn't feel like clubbing anymore when I came here. And the people I met here, well, let's just say that they didn't have as much experience in the clubbing scene as I did. neither in the drinking scene. Like, let's not forget that I am Balkan. We are literally breastfed with alcohol. I also stopped drinking at 18, which is just such a crazy thing to say, but welcome in Europe, I guess. The second drinking became legal for me, I wasn't interested in it anymore. Also, I got my driver's license, and I never drink and drive, and neither should you. So, yeah. Anyways, everyone I met here was having their first drinking and clubbing experiences, and it was fun to join them for a few times, but after a couple of months, I just got tired of it. Because, well, they didn't know how to club nor drink yet, and they would just, you know what, I'm not even going to get into it. I don't know, whatever. I don't like clubbing. In reality, I'm actually such a homebody. I would take a chill night in over a dynamic club night every single time. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. But also at work, I met this new colleague, and he told me, literally 30 minutes after we met, he told me, "You don't look like you party." First of all, sir, true. But second of all, how dare you? Because that's not the only assumption he made. He told me that I don't look like I'm interested in sports, and that I don't look like I listen to techno and house music either. Those are such crazy takes to have on someone you have just met, and to make those claims purely based on what the person looks like. And we have uniforms, so we all look the same, so he judged it based on my face. Like, this is just mind-boggling to me. Man. God. So, what happened clubbing yesterday? Well, I didn't drink, but my friends did. And I mothered all of them, which I don't mind. I'm used to it. I prefer to take care of people when they're drunk than leaving them be and them getting hurt, because that is human decency. Back home, I was the one taking care of people all the time. I cannot tell you how many times I have had to clean puke or watch over someone while they're passed out so that they don't choke in their sleep and die. What a fun teenagehood, right? Yeah, yesterday brought me back to those days. But it was like in such mild, like on a such mild scale, because nobody threw up and nobody was blacked out. I mean, they don't remember much, but like they were adequate enough. So yeah, I don't miss those days of having to look after people. I don't miss them even a single bit. Like, don't get me wrong, yesterday I actually had a lot of fun, but this lifestyle is just not for me anymore. I am too old for this, she said, having just turned 22. Yeah, I came back home around 4, which meant that after all the post-night out rituals, I went to bed around 5:30-ish. And I am so sleep deprived, it is crazy. Maybe this is also contributing to my headache. But yeah, talking about sleep, guys, I've been having the most terrible nightmares as of late. I kid you not a single evening passes when I don't have at least 2 nightmares. And all my nightmares have something to do with something bad happening to someone I love. Like, I'm not joking. 2 days ago, I had a dream that a family member catches on fire. Now, what do we think that this could potentially mean. Because I'm not going to Google what does it mean if I dream that someone catches on fire. Wait, should I? Okay, why not? Okay, so apparently it may symbolize an intense anger towards that person, or on the other side of the spectrum, it could be a burning desire towards them. Let me just tell you, that is complete nonsense. I am not angry with this person, neither do I passionately want them. So if that's not your sign to not believe everything you see on the internet, then I don't know what is. But yeah, I've been having so many nightmares. I never learned the difference between much and many. Anyways, it could be because I'm stressed because of the thesis, which I'm going to update you on in a little bit. But first, I want to tell you about the nightmares. So, I have them regularly. And I have recurring nightmares, which I've been having since I was 5 or so. And I have them at least once a year. It's 2 specific dreams that if you want to hear what they are, I'm going to share them when they just, now I don't feel like going into it because they're long. But like, I have 2 nightmares, which I have been having every single year, at least once since I was 5. Anyways, so the current nightmares. So I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm just terrified. I am terrified also to try and fall back to sleep because, okay, this is crazy. But like, sometimes my dreams just resume from where they left off when I woke up. And that is so weird when you actually think about it, but I don't know why it happens. It's just like I press play as soon as I fall asleep. I don't know what to do to stop those nightmares. It's the way I've always dreamt. But those nightmares are mentally and physically exhausting me. I cannot get a proper rest because of them. And I always remember them and spend the entire day with them replaying in the back of my head. So that's just not it. Maybe I should go talk to a dream doctor or a psychic or whatever. The thing that bothers me the most is that I cannot even nap anymore. I miss napping. And I'm so exhausted throughout the day, but the second I try to take a nap, it's like I've drank 70 espressos and I'm good to go fly a plane or fight with sharks. I could literally swim through the Atlantic Ocean. And I just want my brain to turn off, for God's sake. Like, for at least a solid good 8 hours, I want to rest. You know what? I'm not going to set an alarm for tomorrow. I should give myself the luxury of sleeping in. Also, because I went clubbing yesterday and fell asleep at 5:30 in the morning, now I just know I messed up my sleep schedule for at least 10 business days. God, it is so difficult to be a human, and it is so difficult to be a grown-up. Nobody warned me, and nobody asked me if I wanted to be here. Is this what life is going to be until I unsubscribe? Just exhaustion and headaches? Oh, and knee and hip joint pain? By the way, guys, my running career already ended. I know I introduced it, 2 weeks ago? It's already over. I had to retire literally 3 days after I said I'm starting to enjoy running, because I started having the most terrible knee pain And also my hip started popping as if there's no tomorrow. I had to call my friend who studies medicine so that she can reassure me that I won't need my leg amputated. I'm a hypochondriac when it comes to those stuff. So I started drinking magnesium. Well, started is a bit too optimistic because I took it only a few times and then I kept on forgetting to do it. But the important thing is that my friend told me I won't need my leg cut off as of now, which is great news. But yeah, is this what it's going to be until the end? Why are we so fragile? Bruh. Okay, guys. I wanted to share something with you, and not all of you are going to like what I have to say. And that is fine. Different opinions should be allowed as long as we remember that I'm always right and I never make mistakes. So, I went to see Challengers, the new movie with Zendaya. I'm not going to give any spoilers in this, so feel free to listen to this even if you haven't watched it and you plan to do it. Now, if there is one celebrity I like, it is Zendaya. Girl just does it all. If Zendaya has no fans, then I have died. She's extremely gifted, extremely well-spoken, extremely hardworking, and not to state the obvious, but she's absolutely stunning. Zendaya is just everything. She's amazing. Just talented, brilliant, incredible, amazing, show-stopping, spectacular, never the same, totally unique, completely not ever been done before, unafraid to reference or not reference, put in a blender, shit on it, vomit on it, eat it, give birth to it. Just like Lady Gaga said. Zendaya is just... Zendaya... And for me to say the following, just know that it's not easy. It is with heavy heart that I report this. I didn't like Challengers. Hot take, I know. Maybe some of you are now calling an institution to come take me and perform a lobotomy on me. But hear me out. People are saying that it's one of the best movies ever made. And I couldn't disagree more. I think my friend hyped it up a bit too much for me before we went to the cinema. And I went in with great expectations for great cinema. And let's just say that I was overpromised and was underdelivering. I don't mean to be a hater. Let's start with the positive. The movie is absolutely beautiful. Aesthetically speaking, it is straight up art. The director, Luca... Okay, I'm going to butcher his name. Please excuse me. Luca Guadagnino? So he also directed Call Me By Your Name, which, by the way, I also didn't like, but that is a topic for another time. So yeah, the director, he fully knows how to make a visually pleasing scene. His camera work should be studied because I genuinely think he's an amazing storyteller, again, visually. When it came to the plot of the movie, though, I couldn't have been bored more than I already was. The plot itself felt plotless. Does that make sense? Like, some scenes genuinely felt unnecessary and didn't contribute anything to the story, in my opinion. And as much as I love the aesthetic aspect of the camera work, every scene felt like an eternity. The movie took forever to end. And this is coming from someone who doesn't matter. It's coming from me. Period. The music also was too loud and was at times quite distracting. And I couldn't hear a word they were saying. And for me, hearing when I go to a movie in the Netherlands is very important because the subtitles are in Dutch, naturally, and English isn't my first language. And while I don't have to translate stuff in my head in order to understand them, I still need to be able to hear them properly. I'm sorry, guys. No, you know what? I am not sorry. That is my interpretation. That is my opinion. I didn't like the movie and I'm not going to watch it again. I think it is pretty to look at, but it didn't do anything for me. And as a media researcher, trust me, I analyzed it a lot when watching it and afterwards as well. So I'm really sorry, Zendaya. I still love you and will support everything you do in the future, but this one just, I cannot get behind that one. And that is on that. Lastly, I will update you on my thesis situation and we'll wrap this up because I feel like my head is about to explode every second now. So, on today's episode of Will I Finish This Degree Before It Finishes Me? We have a new and exciting twist. So this week on Friday by 5 p.m., I was supposed to submit the first full draft of the thesis. Now, to say that this was a bit too demanding and unrealistic of them to ask us to do this would be the understatement of the century. I just received my feedback on my second chapter, like the methodological chapter, literally 4 days prior to this, like 4 days prior to the Friday deadline. I literally could have said I received it on Monday. Not to make things complicated, but yeah. And the thing is, I wasn't supposed, Martina, breathe. I wasn't supposed to start with the rest of my thesis before I got that feedback on the methodology, so I technically had 4 days to write 6,000 words. And we all know I am a yapper. I can make a 2-sentence story into a 40-minute podcast, but I still struggled with this significantly. There were a lot of things which affected me in that time. I worked quite a lot this week, so I didn't have much free time. And as much as I'm embarrassed to admit it, I think it's important to be honest with you. A big chunk of my free time I spent either watching Sex and the City or scrolling on TikTok. I just cannot get myself to do any work right now. I am so demotivated and I feel like I'm not delivering the quality of work I can. So I just simply don't do it because seeing myself write some stupid things is terrible. I know it is the last push. I just don't know how to write a thesis. I'm not even looking for academic validation anymore. I gave up on this during week 2 of writing my thesis. I just want to pass. Everything above a passing grade is a luxury and is very welcome, but a pass is everything I need, everything I strive for, everything I want. If I never have to write an essay ever in my life again, it would be too soon. I am exhausted. I am burnt out. I burn out. There's no T. Oh my god, I cannot do this anymore. Yeah, I just want all of this to end. Now, why did I say I was supposed to submit the first full draft instead of I submitted the first full draft? Well, I emailed my supervisor and I asked her for an extension until Sunday. And I'm super thankful that she gave it to me. Like, shout out, supervisor. I need to finish my analysis, write my conclusion and introduction, and then just pray to every god that I can think of. Now, what I struggled with the most was not me meeting the deadline. It was asking for the extension, which really stressed me out. Because I have never before had to ask for an extension, ever in my life. I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I'm usually pretty good with meeting deadlines. I always start super early and either finish days before the deadline or at least a day before the deadline. But that is just the way I was raised to work. Shout out to my grandparents because they were the ones taking care of me after school, and they approached the situation in a very, very smart way. Like, they approached me doing homework, me studying in a way that procrastination was never introduced to me as an option. I never knew you could postpone working, and I was very efficient with what I did and how I did it. Now, university me is a different person, and honestly, I might as well fly out my grandparents to have them here and get me to get to work. But I already mentioned, no, like, jokes aside, I already mentioned that I'm struggling with motivation and getting myself to do the level of work which I know I can deliver, but I am unable to at the moment. So I started feeling super anxious about this deadline. And if I'm being honest, I could have made the original 5 p.m. Friday deadline, but I decided to ask for the extension so that I can get myself to de-stress a bit and hopefully deliver a good quality first full draft. My problem is that I'm treating this draft as if it were the final thing. I just want it to be good. I want it to be the best thing I have ever written as of yet. I want it to be the best thing my supervisor has ever read when it comes to thesis. And I just want my supervisor with her feedback to tell me, that's amazing. No need to revise anything. Show-stopping spectacular, I already did the chant, that thing, to say that thing to me and just tell me, we are actually going to give you the degree right now at this very moment. I know. What a fun mentality to have. But that is not the biggest problem I have here, although it is very significant because it is putting a lot of pressure onto me to deliver. But I feel like the bigger problem here is that I didn't want to ask for the extension because I felt like it would mean I failed. Like I wasn't good enough, like I wasn't organized enough, which wouldn't have been far from the truth if I'm being honest. And I struggled a lot with getting myself to ask for the extension because I have never had to deal with such a problem. And it genuinely made me question who I was. I don't know, it's very difficult to explain. I didn't want to be a failure. And the thing is, asking for an extension does not mean that I failed. But making myself realize this was so difficult. I was filled with such guilt and blamed myself for everything. I am not an academic weapon anymore. I identify as an academic victim. And how did I actually get myself to ask for an extension, you may ask? Well, I realized that, first of all, that is totally normal, and I am entitled to ask for an extension. And I'm not going to lie to you. Having all my friends ask for extensions as well, yeah, it just like having everybody ask for extensions made it easier for me. Because I don't think that my friends are failing. And if we're doing the same thing and I don't see them as a failure, then I shouldn't see myself as a failure either. But most of all, I realized that nobody is going to give me a medal after I submit my thesis for getting through it the hard way, for not asking for help, for not doing it in a less stressful manner. And that is applicable not only to my thesis, but to everything. Nobody is going to give you a medal. Nobody is going to praise you. Nobody is going to pat you on the shoulder because you went through things the stressful way. So don't seek external validation in doing the things the hard way. Make your life easier if you can. You know how they sometimes say it's not about the destination, it's all about the way you got there. Well, if you reach your destination using the rocky way, does that make you more worthy of reaping your efforts' fruit than someone who didn't go the rocky way? I don't think so. That is not me saying don't work hard. By no means. Be hardworking, be dedicated. What I'm trying to get at is to make your life easier, if you can. Reduce the stress of the process if you can. Get to the destination safely instead of risking it all and losing yourself in the process. I am still trying to eradicate this concept of a failure from the way I see myself in this situation. And it is not easy. I felt ashamed, and I do still feel some sort of shame for not being strong and organized enough to get there on the first try. But if I can still get there, I will. So if life gives you second chances, if life gives you options, make good use out of them. I just decided to prioritize my mental health and reduce the stress in the situation over meeting the deadline. And this was a hard pill to swallow. Who is out there swallowing pillows? But that was a hard pill to swallow and a hard decision to make. And while I'm still trying to stop myself from self-blaming for making that decision, I'm also on a deep personal level. Oh my God. I am on a deep personal level proud of myself for prioritizing my personal needs over my academic needs. Because let's be real, there was me before academia, and there was academia before me, and there will be academia after me. I just want to make sure that there is going to be a me after academia as well. Does that make sense? I don't know. I really don't know, but I will eventually figure it out. I have enough time to write everything that is missing, add literature, because that is the worst part of all. Just trust me. When I say something, just believe me. Why would I lie to you? Why do I need to back it up? And yeah, I have enough time to do all of this and then submit it. And after I submit that first draft, I'm going to give myself a few days of brain rotting in the sun. I will do things I enjoy. I am currently rereading To Kill a Mockingbird, so I have pleasurable things coming my way. I just need to walk the road first. And I will. I have to. I literally have no other choice. Guys, I love talking to you, and there's so many more things I want to tell you, but I'm struggling to get words to make sense. And if I don't go rest right now, this very second, I feel like my brain is going to burst out of my ears. You know what? I think I might DIY a lobotomy on myself because of this headache. So, thank you for listening. Stay safe out there and take care of yourself. See you next week. Bye.